Hello everybody, it is me, your boy, Jordan Young, back with another certified hood classic. Today we're going to be reacting to Complex Sneakers' 10 best Air Jordan releases of the year so far. This is Complex's list. This is not my list. I'm just going to react to it and tell you guys what I think. And first and foremost, shout out to Complex Sneakers. They have shown some love to me before on their channel, and I want to take the opportunity to show some love to them. And I think to a large extent, I do agree with most of the sneakers on the list and where they have them placed, but let's go through them one by one. At number 10, they have the Jordan 1 Low Shadows. These came out on the 11th of May for $140. And when these came out, I want to say that the response was pretty muted. These sat in most places. In fact, you can probably find these still sitting in some stores, if not even in outlets. As much respect as this OG colorway in this OG silhouette deserves, it certainly wasn't afforded to it. And I can't help but think that the Jordan 1 Low OG hype has definitely fizzled out. I feel like a lot of people would have been way more hype on this release if they'd have given it to us in the same fashion that we last saw it, which was back in 2015, where you had this slightly bigger swoosh. So still a cool shoe. It's an OG colorway. I can understand why it's on the list, but I personally am not really that fussed about these. At number 9, the Air Jordan 9 Powder Blue. Again, how can I hate on this sneaker featuring on the list? It's an OG colorway. This particular colorway was one of the original 4 and has only retroed once, which was in 2010. So this was definitely a welcome retro for a lot of collectors out there, including myself. At number 8, the Air Jordan 5 Olives. How can you hate on having these on the list? This is a classic retro that we got back in 2006 and haven't had since, and it is a beautiful colorway. The olive green was around. The olive green was hot before Travis got a hold of it. I think Nike understands their aging demographic. If you were around in 05 and 06 and in that era where these were out and available and you couldn't afford them then, you can probably afford them now. And so they're dialing in to your updated monetary status by bringing them out at 225 smackaroonies, which is a little bit steep. At number 7, the Jordan 1 Low Trophy Rooms. These also came out in March for $140, and these were definitely hype. A lot of people were really into these, and you can totally understand why. It's a classic Chicago-inspired color blocking, almost like a black toe. They have the elevated materials. They were made in very limited numbers, and by the time Trophy Room had done their backdooring, they were even more limited, meaning that the resale was going pretty crazy on these. And so I can totally understand why these are on the list. But I can agree that these are, at least from a popular perspective, one of the best Jordans to release this year. At number 6, the Air Jordan 11 Low Space Jam. This is an interesting one. These came out recently, the 18th of May, $190, and I'll totally get on board with the Space Jam being one of the best Air Jordan 11 colorways of all time. It's one of my personal favorite shoes of all time. But for me personally, I don't agree with this one, simply out of a personal bias. I'm not a big fan of Jordan 11 lows. I don't know what it is. I love the 11 highs, but I just don't like the 11 lows. At number 5, the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low Elkins. $150 was the retail, and do I agree with these being on the list? Yeah, absolutely. How could you not include a Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low as part of the best J's to release this year? Ironically enough though, this is probably the most hated on Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low to date. A lot of people have been trashing this shoe because they just don't like the colorway, which is ironic given this is the only Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low to date that has any personal connection to the artist himself. Despite all the people hating on them, nonetheless, these sold out instantaneously. No one could really get their hands on these, and they have been reselling for a little bit of money, albeit not as much as other Travis models. Number 4, the J Balvin 3s, the Rios. Yeah, okay, so these also came out last month. $250 was the price point for these bad boys, and that premium price point was justified because of the premium materials. Do I agree with these? Yeah, I've got to agree with these. It's a lovely shoe. I love the Jordan 3s. This colorway is really nice. From what I've seen, the materials are really awesome. I missed out on these for retail. I haven't also felt compelled to try to cop a pair of these on the resale market. I might end up trying to get a pair if the prices stabilize or maybe even dip a little bit. At number 3, a little cheeky curveball here, an interesting one that I don't think a lot of people would have anticipated seeing at the start of the year, the Air Jordan 17 Low Lightnings. These came out 30th of May, again, part of that star-studded month of May that we had. $300 was the price tag, which was a huge price to pay, but these did come with the briefcase, which didn't come out on the original Lightning release back in 2002. But the reason why these caught so much attention, and I think one of the reasons why these have featured on this list particularly so highly, is because these were really limited and they created a lot of fanfare when they came out. This was like a boutique exclusive, and videos from these said boutiques that had lines out the door of men in their mid-30s and early 40s trying to cop a pair of these were doing the rounds and getting people to scratch their heads thinking, hang on a sec, are we into higher numbered Jordans now? I mean, most sneakerheads or collectors aren't really into Jordans past 14, save a few models here and there. And I personally think like the 17 is one of the less fugly looking higher numbered Jordans. And I have a little hot take on, I think, what's going on here with this particular release. I think what Nike and Jordan Brand are looking to do moving forward is give us more of these higher numbered Jordan retros in the future, because they know that we're pretty much sick to death of all of the older retros at this point. And so in wheeling out the 17 Low Lightning in this very limited fashion, getting these lines outside of these boutiques, getting them reselling, it's starting to whet the appetite for people out there for these higher numbered Jordans. What do you guys think about that? At number 2, the Air Jordan 4 Industrial Blue, or the Military Blue. I couldn't agree more. This is the ideal place to have this sneaker on the list. A fantastic retro, a brilliant shoe, and a long time coming. This is the first time that we've had this sneaker since 1989, and I love the way that they reformed the shape to make it look more like the OG. They got the shade of blue more commensurate with the OG, and of course the most welcome addition, the Nike Air on the back. Now, this release wasn't without its controversies and not without its talking points, including the name, the Industrial Blue. A lot of people were wondering why they decided to come out with the Industrial Blue moniker, but the reality is Military Blue still features on the box, so it was a big nothing burger, really. Some other people were trying to talk down to these, saying that they weren't happy that the shade of blue was off compared to the 2012 retros or the 2006 retros, but to be honest, the 2012 pair and the 2006 pair were both dead at the time. They both went on sale, they both sat, they both have that boxy shape, they both had crap quality leather. At least with these look like the OGs. And one of the things that I love most about this release is the fact that they decided to make bare pairs. This was an accessible release. If you really wanted a pair of these, you could cop a pair for retail. And even if you wanted to get more, you could potentially double up. And they aren't going for crazy money on the resale market. So definitely an awesome sneaker. And at number 1, the Jordan 4 Bred Reimagined. Now, I know some people out there are probably gonna say, man, sneakers are boring. Last year, the sneaker of the year was the Jordan 4 Pine Green SB. This year, 2-in-1 Jordan 4s. Jordan 4s have been trending since 2020, 2021 or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Bro, shut up. Jordan 4 is one of the best Jordans of all time. And this colorway, the Bred, or the black cement, is quite possibly the best, if not tied for first, at least in my opinion, with the white cements, as the best Jordan 4 of all time. Now, these came out back in February for $215. This was a controversial one because it meant a departure from one of the things that made the Jordan 4 unique in the first place, the use of Durabuck, or in more recent times, Nubuck. Just like the Industrial Blues, these were made available. They made a lot of pairs of these, meaning you could pick pairs up for retail pretty easily if you were willing to do the legwork and go into enough raffles. I actually copped my pair under retail, worn lightly a couple of times. And so how good is that? A Jordan 4 Bred in 2024, reimagined in a way that makes them so much more practical and easy to wear in all types of conditions. How good is that? So these being the best Jordan of the year so far is something I can totally agree with. And there we go. Those are the best Jordans of 2024 so far, according to Complex. I've got to say, I pretty much agree. What do you guys think? Are you guys feeling this list? Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? If you do, feel free to sound off down below in the comments. And as always, shout out to all of you guys for supporting the channel. Don't forget to like the video before you bounce, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care for now, and peace.